G'day chaps, is I, ClownButcher139. Spider-Man 2 is finally here and is everything I could have imagined it being. I recently played through the whole game right here on stream and I loved every second of it. So if you want to use my live reactions as funny clips, you now have my blessing to scour the VODs for them. Anyway, since I'm for some reason one of the many authoritative voices on superhero games, I decided to make a quickie review that I could quickly churn out while the algorithm's still hounding for the new release. No spoilers here that weren't revealed in the trailers, except for a small section that I'll leave timestamps on for you to avoid if you so choose. So let's go! This is just straight up one of the best games ever made, but I can't quite give it a perfect 10. Insomniac took almost everything they learned from 2018 and Miles Morales and were able to give us the best of all of it. The already incredible traversal system has been sped up so much to the point that you can cross the entire city in seconds. Be it the inclusion of super launchers that let you catapult yourself across multiple city blocks, the web wings that let you take out a page of Batman's book and glide through wind tunnels, or the fact that the speed cap is practically non-existent, you will be flying through this city, both figuratively and literally. The combat has gone from a fun change of pace against Arkham, where it's all about improvisation and having fun, to giving you even more tools that only improve your creativity, and throwing in so many new enemy types that force you to play differently. Combat is genuinely difficult at times in this game, with the addition of new attacks that can't be dodged but instead need to be parried, forcing you to pay better attention to the attacks thrown your way and adapt to them. Meanwhile also giving me exactly what I asked for in the 2018 review. Quick fire gadgets. No more using a weapon wheel to select your gadget, just hold L1 or R1 and press a button to unleash it instantly. It made combat so much faster and more fluid than either previous game, which is exactly what I wanted. And all the new abilities that both Spider-Men gain are incredible. But I will say I was much more partial to the symbiote abilities than anything else, for obvious reasons. On the converse, however, the one thing they didn't improve was stealth. Stealth is just as mediocre as the other two games, with absolutely no new tools for either Peter or Miles to use. This is one of the very few things keeping the game away from the perfect 10 rating. They improved on literally everything else across the game except for stealth. Why? Who knows? I guess they just really ran into a brick wall with the system they created and couldn't come up with anything better. What we're left with is a stealth system that works, which is more than can be said for most games, but one I would actively avoid unless the game specifically said I couldn't get caught, especially since, like the other games, getting caught has no consequences. But back to positives, the story is just as fantastic as we were expecting, with almost no loose ends I'd try to correct. While the hype moments just kept stacking onto one another, they still left enough room for the waterworks to flow when the time was right. You get everything you expect from the plot points you were told, and then some. Kraven and Venom are incredible villains, not only with incredible boss fights to back them up, but some of the best story moments in the series so far. I think they were able to balance the fact that you were playing as both Peter and Miles incredibly well, giving them both an ideal amount of time in the spotlight for their character arcs to shine through. There's a little bit more light shown on Peter because, symbiote and he's the original Spider-Man, but Miles had more than enough on the side to make up for it. I honestly think his personal arc was more interesting than Peter's, in fact. Okay, we're about to go into spoiler territory, so for those of you wanting to avoid it, skip to the next timestamp or the time on screen now, because there will be absolutely no restraint on spoilers in 3, 2, 1. While the finale is just as emotional as you'd expect from Spider-Man, I personally found it quite a bit less engaging than the finale in 2018. This may or may not be true, but it felt like Harry didn't get nearly enough screen time to build up his transformation into villain. With Otto in 2018, it felt less surprising, but much more depressing as you saw his descent into madness and eventual turn into Doc Ock. That made Peter's battle with him at the end feel that much more emotional, especially with how much Peter was trying to help him before his turn. Harry kinda just turns on a whim. The reason the fight against Venom, while cool, is less emotional than the one against Otto is because we aren't fighting Harry. As Connor said in the lab, Harry is gone. The symbiote has completely taken over his mind. We aren't trying to stop Harry who's fallen from grace, we're trying to stop Venom who is just happening to use Harry as a vessel. So all the talking Peter and Miles do during the fight to try to appeal to Harry is kinda meaningless when he has no input on the matter. Also, there's the fact that Miles has no connection with Harry to begin with, so all his talking has no emotional impact at all. I was much more engaged throughout Act 2 as Peter was being taken over by the symbiote, especially with how it all came crashing down during his fight with Kraven and Miles. And I especially liked how the symbiote had a lasting effect on things. Just because Peter gets out of the suit doesn't mean things automatically go back to normal. There's still some emotional breaks that he needs to fix with people, of course MJ and Harry. Speaking of bosses though, they're all incredible. Not a single dud in the group. All are great tests of your skills with interesting mechanics that make none of them feel the same. And most have significant emotional weight to them, but special shoutouts to Miles vs. Lee for reaching the 2's 3-game arc, and Peter vs. Scream for showing the state of Peter and MJ's relationship. I will say that even though the emotional weight for Venom's fight wasn't quite on par with the fight versus Otto, the fight itself is far better. It's a long and elaborate fight where you have to work as both Peter and Miles to wear Venom down, as he seemingly gets more and more powerful as the fight progresses. I do think it could have used one extra surprise phase at the end like the beatdown against Otto, but I'll still take what we got. By far my favorite fight though, only because I didn't finish all the side quests yet, was Miles vs. Peter. I was blown away when this fight showed up, and the actual battle itself did not leave me disappointed. Because it's literally the inverse of the fight versus Kraven from moments ago. Peter had to keep the bell webbed, while Miles wants to keep ringing it. And also, it's just an epic fight of teacher versus student where the only reason the student wins is because of that bell. It's a difficult fight because of all the crap Peter can throw at you, all of which you no doubt just used against Kraven moments ago. It's just an amazing fight, but is really only the best of an already incredible selection. Oh yeah, also, you get to play as freaking Venom! This is the best game ever! Okay, last thing in spoilers, I cannot wait for everything they set up for Spider-Man 3. I mean, we've got the probable return of Otto, another new Spider-Person in Cindy Moon/Silk, Green Goblin right on the horizon, freaking Carnage, and even the possibility of Spider-Verse connections. They set up so much, and I'm so ready for all of it. Okay, spoilers over. And with them, the review as well. Spider-Man 2 was exactly what we needed it to be. While it did miss the mark in a few very tiny areas, I can easily look past them when the rest of the game was just so freaking perfect. This is a game worthy of buying a PS5. Insomniac knocked it out of the park yet a freaking again, and gave us one of the most fun and emotional superhero games ever conceived. Big surprise? Not really. Play Spider-Man 2. You will absolutely not regret it. With that said, do all the YouTube stuff because it's symbioting time. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you later, chaps.